Uh, Good day, good day. In the previous lesson, we were talking about graphs. So, our topic for today, we are going to talk about functions. We are going to talk about functions. So, in grade 9, we learned that a function gives an output. That means you put an input and then it gives you an output, which is, for example, we have something like 2x plus 1. Then we have an input which can be regarded as the value of x, and then our output here which can be regarded as the value of y. So we are going to look at three things, which is evaluating functions. We are going to look at inverse functions and then composite functions. So starting with evaluating functions, we are going to look at example 1, which will be if f of x is equals to 2x plus 7, then find a f of 3, and then b f of negative 2. So how do we get the solution? So first, we are given this function, which is f of x is equals to x plus 7. So in this function, on the value of x, we substitute what's inside the bracket. So this is going to be f of 3 is equals to 2 times 3 plus 7. So this is 2 times 3, which is 6, plus 7, which later gives you 13. So moving on to b, we will use the same function, f of x is equal to x plus 7. Then to find f of negative 2, we substitute on the value of x, which is negative 2 plus 7, which gives us a 2 multiplied by 2, which is 4, and it's negative, plus 7, that results into positive 3. So moving on to example 2. We'll also find something like given f of x is equals to 2x minus 1, and g of x is equals to z. Then letter A, find x in terms of z. So to find x in terms of z, that means we have to express x as the subject of the formula. So we take the function of g of x is equals to z. This is the function given to us, and then they want us to express x in terms of z. So the function of g of x, it's given, which is g of x is equals to x squared plus 1. So this means g of x is equal to z. We substitute on the value of g of x, its function, which will be x squared plus 1 is equal to z. Then we take 1 to the other side, which is x squared is equal to z less 1. Then we remove the root, the square, by introducing roots on both sides. So this is x is equal to the root of z minus 1. So we have expressed x in terms of z. So the next thing that we are going to look at is inverse functions. inverse function. So under inverse functions, we'll say an inverse function is a function that reverses another function. So the function has all the same points as the original, but except the x and y's values have been reversed. So let's look at an example 1. How will questions for an inverse function comes? Which is given that f of x is equal to 5x plus 4. Find f inverse of x. And then b, f inverse of 9. So to find the inverse function, we bring the function f of x is equal to 5x plus 4. Now we write f of x as y, because it's the same as y function, is equal to 5x plus 4. Then we are going to interchange the value of x and y. So y goes to the place of x, and then x comes to the place of y. Then the next thing is we express y in terms of x, which means we make y the subject of the formula. X minus 4 is equal to 5y. We divide both sides by 5. We get y is equal to x minus 4 over 5. So this is the inverse of the function, and we denote it by saying an f inverse of x is equal to x minus 4 over 5. This is the inverse of that function. So to get the f inverse of 9, we simply bring the function of the inverse of x, which is x minus 4 over 5. On the value of x, we substitute 9. This is f inverse of 9, which is equals to 9 on the value of x minus 4 over 5, which gives us 5 over 5, which is 1. So this is how we find the inverse of a function. Let's look at example 2 under inverse of functions, which is given that h of x is equals to x plus 2 over 3. Find h inverse of x. So the same apply. To find the inverse function, we are going to write that function, and then we are going to write y is equal to this function. Then we interchange x and y positions. Then we introduce a fraction. We cross multiply. This gives us 3x is equals to y plus 2. Then we make y the subject of the formula by saying 3x minus 2 is equal to y. So the inverse function of h of x is equals to 3x minus 2. So this is how to find the inverse of the function. Now we will move to the third thing, which is called a composite function. So a composite function is when a function is applied to the result of another. So here we are going to deal with substituting on function onto its other function. So let's look at how composite function looks like with an example 1. The question comes as if f of x is equals to x squared plus 2 and g of x is equals to x plus 2 square. So the question will be find f of g of x. That's A. And then B, f of x is equals to g of x. Now to answer the first question, this means that we take the function of f of x. On its x value we substitute the function of g of x, which gives us the function of f of x is equals to x squared plus 2, and then on its x value we substitute the function of g, which gives us f of g of x is equals to x plus 2 squared and then plus 2. So we have substituted the value of x of this function. So this gives us to x plus 2, x plus 2, we expand our brackets, then to the power 2. This gives us x squared plus 4x plus 4 squared plus 2. And then expanding our bracket again to the power 2, our bracket will be x squared plus 4x plus 4 multiplying x squared plus 4x plus 4 plus these 2 outside here. So this means we'll get x squared multiplied by x squared x4 plus 4x cubed plus 4x squared plus 4x squared so it's 4x squared, then plus 4x cubed, then plus 4x squared, and then we also have 4x cubed plus 16x squared then plus 16x. Then we have 4x squared plus 16x plus 16 plus 2. So this leads us to the collecting like terms, which is we only have 1x4 cubed, then we have 1 2, which gives us 8x cubed, then we also have 1 2, which gives us plus 24x squared, then plus 16 and 16 gives us 32x plus 18. So this is the simplified form of this question. Now answering B, which is f of x is equals to g of x, we simply equate the function of f of x to a function of g of x, which means we will take a function of f of x, which is x squared plus 2 is equal to the function of g of x, which is x plus 2 squared. So we simplify this. This is x squared plus 2 is equals to this bracket expanded, then we get x squared plus 2, which is equals to x squared plus 4x plus 4. Then this and that cancels, then we will have 0 is equals to 4x plus 4 less 2. So this 0 is equal to 4x plus 2. So this is the simplified form. So this is the end of our lesson for today. We talked about function, under which we looked at evaluating functions, and then we looked at inverse functions, and later composite functions. So we will discuss another in our next lesson. Thank you.